In the summer of 2022, in a small Georgia town, a black couple was refused service at a restaurant. That story alone sparked national outrage. But what no one knew at the time was this. The man who refused to serve them, he didn't legally exist. And by the time the truth came out, one woman had vanished, a restaurant was shut down, and a long-buried secret was about to resurface, frozen in the dark, waiting to be found. It all began on July 17th, 2022. Erica and Jamal Reynolds had driven 2 hours out of Atlanta for their 10th wedding anniversary. They chose a Magnolia Room, an elegant, highly rated restaurant in Silverdale, Georgia. It was supposed to be a quiet, romantic evening. One table by the window, a bottle of red wine, a celebratory toast. Instead, it became a crime scene. They were seated, greeted with smiles by the hostess, and waited for their server. A few minutes passed. Then the waiter approached. White, mid-30s, neatly groomed. He looked at them, stone-faced. Then, in a voice loud enough for the nearby table to hear, he said, "I'm not serving them." At first, Erica thought she misheard him. Jamal tried to de-escalate, but when she asked what he meant, the man simply repeated, "I don't serve their kind." A hush fell over the dining room. Someone pulled out a phone and started recording. The clip would go viral. Erica stood up, visibly shaken but composed, and asked to speak to the manager. That's when the owner walked in. Calvin Murdoch, 62, decorated Vietnam veteran, town fixture, owned the Magnolia Room for over 2 decades. Locals described him as old school but fair. He'd been on the city council, donated to charities. He even had a plaque in the lobby thanking him for community service. But on that night, when Erica explained what just happened, Calvin didn't apologize. He didn't defend them. He looked at the waiter, whose name, according to the staff, was Brian Cates, and simply said, "Brian, go to the back." Brian didn't argue. He turned and walked into the kitchen. Then Calvin turned to Erica and Jamal and said, "You don't know who that man is. You don't know what he's been through. You two should probably leave." That sentence changed everything. Erica, a civil rights attorney, immediately knew something wasn't right. And not just because of the racism. She'd seen that before. It was the fear in Calvin's voice. The way he kept glancing toward the kitchen door. The way staff stayed silent, frozen in place. She didn't leave. Instead, she filed a formal complaint and called a friend, someone who owed her a favor. A private investigator named Lenora Miles, former FBI, brilliant, ruthless, and 2 days later, Lenora came back with one sentence. Brian Cates doesn't exist. No driver's license, no social security number, no work history. The name on the payroll wasn't tied to any real identity. No address, no taxes, nothing. Whoever this man was, he was using a fake name. Lenora dug deeper. She ran his image through facial recognition databases. What came back sent a chill through Erica's spine. The man known as Brian Cates was a 97% match to Nathaniel Byrd, a white supremacist linked to the 1998 Montgomery church bombing. He'd been released in 2004 after key evidence was thrown out, and then he vanished. No one had seen him since, until now. And suddenly, that racist refusal of service looked a lot more sinister. But it didn't stop there. Lenora found something else buried in the Magnolia Room's tax records. Calvin Murdoch had been paying Brian through a shell company, Veterans for Southern Peace. On paper, it was a nonprofit. In reality, it was linked to known militia groups in Alabama and Georgia. That's when Erica realized Calvin wasn't just protecting an employee. He was hiding someone. Then came another bombshell. In 2019, a waitress named Jenny Ross disappeared without a trace. 24 years old. Worked at the Magnolia Room. Last seen after a late-night shift. Her case went cold. No suspects. No body. But the PI found her name buried in a police report from 3 years earlier, filed by Jenny's roommate. The report mentioned a troubling detail. Jenny had told her roommate she was afraid of Brian and thought he was following her after work. When officers questioned the restaurant back then, Calvin claimed Jenny just moved away. Now, it didn't seem so simple. Erica brought everything to the FBI, and in October of 2022, agents raided Calvin Murdoch's home. They found 6 burner phones, a series of locked files, photos of staff, including Jenny, and a journal written in Calvin's handwriting. But it was what they found in the basement that shocked them most. There was a freezer, industrial-sized, chained shut. Inside were clumps of hair, a bracelet, and a stained Magnolia Room uniform. What they didn't find was a body. DNA tests confirmed the hair belonged to Jenny Ross. She had been there. But where was she now? As for Brian, if that was even his real name, he was gone. Vanished the same night Erica and Jamal came in. No cameras caught him leaving. No credit card charges. No phone pings. It was like he disappeared into thin air. The Magnolia Room shut down for renovations, but no one in Silverdale believed that. And the restaurant owner? He wasn't talking. Not to the press. Not to the police. Not even to his lawyer. But the FBI believes Calvin knows exactly where Brian went and what happened to Jenny. Because hidden in the back of that freezer, beneath old inventory boxes, was a security hard drive labeled Back Kitchen, July 2019. What's on that footage? We don't know yet, but one thing is certain. This wasn't just racism. This wasn't just hate. This was a cover-up. This was murder. And the story? It's just getting started. The hard drive was labeled Back Kitchen, July 2019. Exactly the time frame when Jenny Ross vanished. No one knew it existed. It wasn't on the restaurant's original DVR system. Calvin had removed it, hidden it, locked it beneath his house in a freezer beside clumps of hair and a blood-stained apron. But now it was in the FBI's hands. They ran the footage. The screen flickered. Grainy black and white security cam. The back kitchen. A hallway leading to the freezer. July 12th, 11:23 p.m. Jenny walks in. She's in her uniform, purse slung over her shoulder. Looks like she's leaving for the night. She stops by the freezer, opens it, takes something out, maybe a tray. Then another figure appears. From the left, it's Brian. No chef's coat. He's in street clothes. Dark hoodie, gloves. He walks straight toward her. They argue. No audio, but it's intense. Jenny backs away. He steps closer. Then it happens. Brian lunges. The frame jolts. Jenny stumbles back, hits the wall. Her head snaps sideways. She tries to run. He grabs her. They vanish off camera. 10 seconds later, only Brian comes back. He's dragging something. And this time, he opens a freezer. The FBI paused the footage. They couldn't tell what he put inside, but it wasn't food. And here's the thing. There was no footage of Jenny ever leaving the restaurant. No phone calls. No Uber. No card swipes. She simply disappeared. Until now, the evidence was overwhelming. The hair in the freezer matched Jenny's DNA. Her bracelet was identified by her sister. Her blood was found on the freezer door handle. The case was upgraded to homicide. Only one problem remained. Where was Brian? By this point, Brian Cates had become the most searched name on the internet. Even though it wasn't his real one, the FBI confirmed he was actually Nathaniel Byrd, the fugitive white supremacist who had been in hiding for nearly 2 decades. He'd evaded federal surveillance, slipped through countless manhunts. But in Silverdale, he just waited tables. For 5 years, living in plain sight. And Calvin Murdoch had protected him. Agents searched the Magnolia Room again. Upstairs in Calvin's private office, behind a false panel on the wall, they found more. Small blue diamond cash bundles. Over $80,000. Small blue diamond 4 fake IDs. Each with different names, but all using the same face. Small blue diamond 1 unregistered Glock. Small blue diamond and a burner phone, with only one number on it. They traced that number to an abandoned property 60 miles away, deep in the Georgia woods. A trailer, burned to the ground. Inside the ash, they found a scorched phone, a half-melted wallet, and a human tooth. The media ran wild with it. Racist waiter now wanted for murder. Restaurant owner helped fugitive killer disappear. Magnolia Room, from southern comfort to cold-blooded crime. But Calvin still said nothing. He was arrested for obstruction and harboring a fugitive, but refused to speak during interrogations. No confession, no explanation. He just sat there, silent, until one morning he asked for a pen and paper and wrote just 2 words, "Not Brian." The FBI was confused. What did it mean? They thought he was Brian, or Nathaniel Bird. But now Calvin was implying they were wrong. What if the man they'd been hunting, the man on the camera, the man who killed Jenny Ross, was someone else entirely? That's when the case took another turn. A new facial recognition match came through. Only 85% this time. But the name was even worse. Michael Sutter, a missing federal witness in a 2007 anti-terrorism case. He'd vanished after testifying against a white nationalist militia in South Carolina. The FBI believed he'd been placed in witness protection, then vanished again. So now they had 3 names. Brian Cates, fake. Nathaniel Bird, fugitive. Michael Sutter, missing witness. And the same face on every ID. Which one was real? Who was the man behind the freezer door? That brings us to the most chilling part of this story. 2 weeks ago, someone sent Erica and Jamal an unmarked envelope. No return address. Inside was a thumb drive. It contained 1 video file. Time-stamped. July 19th, 2022, 2 days after their dinner. The screen was black at first. Then it flickered on. It showed Erica and Jamal from inside the Magnolia Room, but not from the dining room. From a hidden camera behind the bar. They were being watched. The camera pans to Brian. He's standing in the shadows, looking right at them, smiling. And the final frame of the video, it cuts to a dark room. A candle. A hand holding a Polaroid. The photo is of Jenny Ross. Alive. Eyes wide. Terrified. No one knows who sent the video. But one thing is clear. Jenny might still be alive. And the man calling himself Brian, he's out there, watching, waiting. After the footage leaked, the video showing Jenny Ross alive and the hidden camera footage of Erica and Jamal, the FBI widened the investigation. They weren't dealing with just a missing waitress anymore. They were dealing with a man who'd stolen identities, who'd lived in plain sight for years, and who might have committed multiple murders under different names. The problem was, they still didn't know who he actually was. Nathaniel Bird, Michael Sutter, or someone else entirely. Because the only person who could answer that question, Calvin Murdoch, was still locked in county jail. Silent. That is, until the threat started. It began subtly. Jamal found a small slip of paper under his windshield wiper. No envelope. Just 5 words, typed in red ink. You should have left earlier. The next day, Erica's office in Atlanta received a package. Inside, a bottle of red wine, the exact one they'd ordered the night of the incident. Same label, same vintage, but this one had a note taped to it. No fingerprints, no DNA, just a message. To 10 more years. If you're lucky. The FBI took it seriously. They started surveillance. Erica and Jamal were put under protective custody. But whoever was behind the threats, he was always one step ahead. Meanwhile, the FBI pushed Calvin hard. They showed him the freezer footage, the burner phones, the hair, the blood. Still, he said nothing, until they showed him the wine bottle. He stared at it for a full 30 seconds, then finally whispered he was never supposed to come back. That single sentence broke everything open. Agents pressed him for more. He agreed to talk, but only to Erica. So, under full supervision, Erica sat across from the man who let it all happen. He looked tired, smaller, hollowed out, and what he said made her blood run cold. Calvin met Brian 20 years ago. His real name, he claimed, was Lucas Grahn, not Bird, not Sutter. Grahn was once part of a now-defunct militia group in northern Alabama, the Hollow Creed, anti-government, white nationalist, highly secretive. Calvin had served with Lucas's father in Vietnam, and when Lucas went underground in the early 2000s, Calvin took him in, gave him a job, a place to disappear. Calvin said he knew Lucas had a violent streak, but claimed he didn't know about Jenny. Said he just wanted to protect the son of an old friend. But when Erica showed him the footage of Jenny alive, clearly terrified, clearly held somewhere, Calvin cracked. He admitted something no one saw coming. He kept a room under the restaurant, in the old wine cellar. I told him to seal it off years ago. The FBI immediately tore through basement. Behind a locked door, they found it. A hidden room, soundproofed, no windows, a mattress on the floor, rusted chains bolted to the wall. But it was empty, except for a message scratched into the concrete. She's not the only one. Now the case exploded. The Magnolia Room wasn't just a restaurant. It had been a cover. For years, Erica's PI, Lenora Miles, pulled building permits. The restaurant had done extensive renovations back in 2017. That's when the secret room was built. And surveillance footage from that time, what little could be recovered, showed multiple women on staff suddenly quitting, disappearing. 3 of them were never heard from again. The FBI now believed Lucas Grahn, or whatever his real name was, had possibly abducted multiple women over a span of years, all while serving hush puppies and cocktails to unsuspecting customers. He didn't just hide, he hunted, and now he was out there again. Then came a break. Jenny's sister, Dana, who'd refused to leave town, received a call at 3:04 a.m. The number was blocked. The audio was distorted. But the voice, it was Jenny, crying, whispering, "He's not who you think. Please don't trust." Then silence. The line cut. The FBI traced it to a burner pinging off a cell tower near Jackson County, North Carolina. A mountain town. Remote, easy to vanish in. Within hours, agents descended on the area. They found a cabin, locked from the outside. Abandoned, but recently used. Inside, small blue diamond, a chain on the floor. Small blue diamond, a stained mattress. Small blue diamond, a Polaroid, Jenny, again. This time holding a piece of paper with the date, July 20th, 2022. Small blue diamond, and one final item. A hunting knife with Erica's initials carved into the handle. Not engraved. Carved. By hand. It wasn't just about Jenny anymore. Now it was personal. Erica was the target. Jamal, Dana, anyone connected to the story. Whoever Lucas was, he wasn't just escaping justice. He was circling back. And there was still one question no one could answer. Why did he let Erica and Jamal leave that night? He'd vanished minutes after they refused to leave the restaurant. He could have done anything, but he didn't. He disappeared. Almost like he wanted the video to go viral. Like the whole scene was meant to draw someone out. But who? Jenny? Erica? Someone else? One final detail. An agent reviewing old Magnolia Room footage noticed something strange. A guest logbook from 5 years ago, July 12, 2017. The exact day Jenny Ross started working there. Written neatly on the last line of the page. E. Reynolds, table for 2. That was Erica's name. But she swore, under oath, she had never been to Silverdale before 2022. So, how did her name appear 5 years earlier? Had she been watched for longer than she knew? Erica Reynolds had never been to Silverdale before 2022. At least, that's what she believed. But when the FBI found a 5-year-old guest book from the Magnolia Room, listing her name, written in her own handwriting, everything unraveled. How could her name be there? Why would someone fake it? Or had she forgotten something? The name was clear. E. Reynolds, table for 2. Same name, same initial, same handwriting. But Erica had no memory of it. And that's when Lenora Miles, her PI, found a gap in Erica's own history. One weekend in July 2017, Erica's calendar went blank. Her phone was off. She told friends she'd gone to visit her aunt in Charlotte. But the aunt? She died in 2016. Erica couldn't explain it. She stared at the guestbook photo in silence for a full minute, then whispered, "What if I was drugged?" That possibility blew the case open again. The FBI brought in a memory specialist. They showed Erica recovered footage, Old Magnolia Room security from that weekend in 2017. It was badly degraded. But in one silent clip, a woman sits alone at a table, wearing a dark green dress, shoulders stiff, eyes glassy. She stares forward. Then Brian, Lucas Grahn, approaches her, smiles, pours wine. She doesn't respond. Erica's hands trembled when she saw the video. She didn't remember it, but she knew that dress. It was still in her closet. What happened that night? Why did Lucas let her go? Why mark her, but not kill her? Calvin had the answer. And this time he was done hiding. He agreed to a final interview. With Erica, no one else. One room, 2 cameras, one final question. Why Erica? Calvin leaned forward, face sunken, voice low. He never wanted you dead. He wanted you to remember him. Erica blinked. What do you mean, remember? And Calvin said the words that chilled her blood. You met him before. Flashback. 2006, Birmingham, Alabama. Erica was a college student, volunteering for a voter registration drive. She was door knocking, alone, in a rural area. One house had no number, a long gravel path. She knocked. No answer. She left, thought nothing of it. But someone watched her walk away. She never knew the man's name, never saw his face. Until now, Lucas Grahn had followed Erica for years. He'd built a pattern. Targeted women he thought wouldn't be missed. But Erica was different. He didn't just watch her. He tested her. The fake dinner in 2017, the drugging, the photo in the logbook. But he let her go. Why? Because Erica reminded him of someone else. His sister. The FBI recovered journal pages from Calvin's house. Pages Lucas had written. Rants, manifestos, scribbled madness. One page stood out. She's the only one who sees. The only one who looks me in the eye. Jenny lied, but she tells the truth. Yar, she remembers. Jenny Ross wasn't just a waitress. She was Lucas's first failed cleanse. He'd tried to remake her, break her, erase her past. But she fought back, and so did Erica. 2 women he couldn't control. Then came the breakthrough. The FBI traced Lucas's last burner ping to a property outside Asheville, North Carolina. A hunting cabin. Isolated. Cold. Barred windows. Cameras on every tree. They moved in silently. No warning. Inside, the unmistakable sound of a chain dragging. They found Jenny, alive, tied to a bedpost, bruised, dehydrated, but alive. In the corner of the room, a wall covered in photos. All of Erica, college ID, law school graduation, wedding day, the Magnolia Room. He'd been watching her for over a decade. But Lucas, he was gone. Again. All that remained was a VHS tape labeled Erica Finale. On it, Lucas sits in front of the camera. Calm, blank eyes. I gave you 10 years, he says. 10 years to live. 10 years to succeed. You passed the test. But the game's not over. He smiles. You saved her. But there are more. Look deeper. The Magnolia Room was just the first. The tape ends. The screen goes black. The FBI believes Lucas Grahn has fled the country. Interpol is involved now. Jenny is recovering in protective care. She's talking, and she's remembering. She says there were other women. Names, faces, locations, hidden doors, underground rooms, a whole network. Magnolia wasn't just a restaurant. It was a hub, a front, the beginning. As for Erica, she's no longer just a victim. She's leading a task force. Every day, she combs through evidence, footage, files, looking for names. Because somewhere out there, Lucas is watching, still playing his game, still testing his victims. And the final message he left, carved into the wall of that cabin, behind the bed frame, almost missed during the sweep. I'll see you at table 2.